As a fire alarm collector, you've got options. There's all sorts of different types, different brands, and models of fire alarms you can choose from. This video is to bring some insight as to which alarms are the best for collectors. Obviously, I can't rate every single alarm that exists because there's thousands of different alarms. However, I've chosen a few alarms that are pretty easy to get as a collector. For the purpose of today's testing, I've devised a 10-point rating system. 5 points will go to the quality, so basically how reliable something is and how well something is made, and the other half will go to collector friendliness, or how easy something is for collectors to use and operate. Without further ado, I present to you which alarm is best for collectors. First, I'm going to take a look at system sensor devices. Right here I have the Advanced. This is one of the most common alarms. Everybody knows what this is. So, of course, collector friendliness wise, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's not perfect, it's not great. Honestly, there's not a whole lot you can do with these. It's multi-candela, but that's about it. And quality-wise, these are also pretty good. It's pretty hard to destroy one of these. So, as a collector, you're pretty much safe from that. So, quality-wise, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. And novelty-wise, I'll give it a 2 out of 5 for a total of 7 out of 10. Next, I have the System Sensor L series. This right here is basically just a modernized and slightly cheaper Advance. Right here you can see that it does have a pretty sleek design. It looks kind of cool. Of course, it does have some pretty thin plastic, and it does, again, not have too many options. However, this does have a second tone, so that is pretty neat, and of course it is multi-candela. These are unfortunately pretty cheap though, because these mounting brackets do have a tendency to get a little floppy and don't work. So I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 on the quality, and novelty wise I'm also going to give it a 3 out of 5 for a total of 5 out of 10. This right here is the classic Spectre Alert. It is basically the hybrid between the Advance and the L series. Of course, quality wise it's not perfect. The plastic is a little thin, and some of these do have that annoying snap up here. But novelty-wise, or collector-friendly-wise, it's going to be 5 out of 5 all day long. First of all, these are just really nice looking and cool. Of course, if we look at the back, this is a 4-wire device, and some of these are multi-candela. Every single classic also does have the second tone, so that's really nice. But yeah, I really do like these. So 5 out of 5 for collector-friendliness and 3 out of 5 for quality, for a total of 8 out of 10. Moving on to Wheelock, this right here is the Wheelock Exceeder HSR. Of course, I really do like the look of these. These are actually fantastic looking devices. Probably the most good looking modern device that is still being produced today. Of course, it's really, really reliable. Quality wise, these are really, really good. Of course, you can smack it all you want. It's not going to break. It's practically indestructible. The one thing I don't like is that to get it off the mounting bracket, you must use some sort of a screwdriver. And of course, you can see that after a little bit, it's not designed to be pried so much, so the plastic will eventually wear away. But it is a very nice quality device. Unfortunately, the only issue is that it doesn't have many tone selections and it's not perfect. But I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 on quality and maybe like a 4 out of 5 on novelty or collector friendliness. Alright, this right here is the Wheelock Ns, basically a older version of the Exceeder. It is not nearly as good quality, I'm going to say that right now. Of course, the sides of these strobes have a tendency to, get a little snappy. The strobe is a little bit cheaper, of course, because it has that, tube in the middle. But of course, it is a pretty good looking device. I'd say it's nice to collect. Of course, if we go ahead and pop it open, these also have that little thing on the side, so if you're using a screwdriver constantly to pry it open, it's going to get a little bit worn. Of course, the plastic here is a little bit gummy, which is not a big deal. And of course, you can change the coating, but it does take a really small pair of pliers to get in there, and it's very annoying. So, unfortunately, quality-wise, it's going to be a 3, and novelty-wise, or collector-friendly-wise, it's also going to be a 3. Next up, we have the older version of the NS, which is the Wheelock AS. Of course, I do think these are a little better than the NS, and the reason I think that is because instead of the little snaps on the side, this actually has a screw which you loosen to get the bracket off. And of course, you can select your tones and stuff way easier. This one also has a volume selection, which is nice, and it has these jumpers. Of course, it is a 2-wire device, but you can select the candela, which is pretty cool. It is a pretty aesthetically pleasing device. It does look decent. So novelty-wise, or collector friendliness-wise, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, and then quality-wise, it is also pretty decent quality, so I'll also give it a 4 out of 5 for a total of 8 out of 10. The last alarm in the Wheelock category we'll be taking a look at is the Wheelock Mt. I don't even know where to start with these, but these are absolutely fantastic devices. First of all, you can select so much with these. There are 8 different tones with these devices. So, of course, you can have like slow whoop, fast whoop, horn, all those different lovely selections. They are still being made today, and they can sync with modern Wheelock devices, which is awesome. Both the modern version and the older version look absolutely fantastic. I mean, of course, that is very aesthetically pleasing. And collector friendliness, it's actually going to be a 6 out of 10 because, I mean, a 6 out of 5 because that is just, it's just an incredible alarm for collectors. I don't think there's a more perfect Wheelock device out there. And of course, quality-wise, it's also fantastic. I mean, that is some very thick plastic, nice strobe, doesn't look like it could break. Very, very reliable device. So this is going to be an 11 out of 10. All right, now we have a EST look-alike. Basically, this is just a less cool Wheelock MT, unfortunately. It can sync with EST devices, but unfortunately it is not multi-tone, so it literally just has one tone. The mounting bracket here is actually a little bit of a pain because sometimes, you know, the back of this is really big and intrusive, so you have to have a pretty decent sized back box. I have seen the strobes on these fail. It's a pretty frequent occurrence. So unfortunately, novelty wise, actually I'd say this is pretty good. It's pretty fun to collect. It does look kind of nice. It's going to be a 4 out of 5, and quality wise, it is going to be a 4 out of 5 as well, just because of the fact that, of course, it does have the nice metal bracket and thick plastic, but because of the strobe issue, I'm going to give it a 4. Alright, so everybody already knows I'm not a huge fan of the Genesis. However, to be honest, I don't think that these are the worst devices to collect. Of course, you do have a lot of customizable options, like for example, you can get them in different colors and all that stuff. The one thing I don't really like is that if you aren't careful with it and you accidentally touch that capacitor right there on the bottom, you're going to get a pretty nasty shock. There's a lot of exposed circuitry. Quality-wise, it's pretty spiffy. I mean, this horn falls off all the time. You know, all these things are exposed and break really easily. It just feels really cheap, so unfortunately, 1 out of 5 on quality, but 5 out of 5 on the novelty. Like, honestly, these are really nice to collect. This right here is the infamous True Alert. It is probably one of the worst collector-friendly devices of all time, so it's going to be a 1 out of 5 for collector friendliness all day long. Like, most of these that you're going to find are going to be smart sync, which means you're going to have to buy a module, or they could be addressable or whatever. Quality-wise, these aren't great either. This particular one actually does have a bad horn. It arrived that way, so that's very annoying. I mean, to be fair, it is a pretty durable device. Like, it doesn't feel like it's going to break. But unfortunately, because of how annoying it is to like find one that actually works, it's going to be 1 out of 5 on the collector friendliness, and then a 3 out of 5 on quality. So that's going to be a 4 out of 10. Finally, we're going to be taking a look at the Gentex Commander 3. This right here is also a fantastic quality device. You can see that there's no little snaps for you to break off. You literally just pull on the front and it pops off like that. It also slides off. You have a fantastic quality metal bracket. You can also select the tone. There is 8 different tones on this particular device, which is the exact same as the MT, and also you can select the candela. However, something I don't particularly love about these is that the strobes are a little cheap. This particular one, the little part of the strobe came off, so what I did was I used aluminum foil to reconnect it. It looks pretty ghetto, but it works. So unfortunately, it's not perfect in that aspect, but you do get a candela selector. So quality-wise, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5, and similar to the MT, I'm also going to give it a 6 out of 5 for the novelty or the collector friendliness. Here's our 2 winners. I really couldn't decide which one of these was better. I think they're almost equally good devices, so I'm just going to select both of them as the winner. Let me know down in the comments which one of these you think is better, or if you think one of the other devices is the best collector-friendly alarm. If you did like this video, I can always do this for other devices because I only did this for a small fraction of my collection. So yeah, thanks for watching.